Hi there, I'm Dr. Francesca Zampollo, and in this video we are going to see the relationship between the mere exposure effect and the failure of the new Coke, probably the biggest failure in food history. So, the mere exposure effect is a psychological phenomenon for which people develop a preference for something only or merely because they are familiar with them. In social psychology, this phenomenon is also called the familiarity principle. And now let's look at what happened at the new Coke. So the new Coke is a product that was launched in 1985 by Coca-Cola. At the time, they basically wanted to create a new recipe for Coca-Cola, and they did a whole lot of studies, and this is the interesting part, a whole lot of studies that show that and a whole lot of refinement of the recipe that showed consistently that when blindfolded, people chose the new recipe, the new Coke. So they were very happy with the results, and they were sure in launching this new product. And so they launched this new product, the new Coke. They actually rebranded it a little bit. They changed the Coca-Cola logo. As you can see, they called it a new Coke. But what they forgot to consider, what they forgot about at Coca-Cola, was the mere exposure effect. People like or become or develop preferences for product that they are very familiar with and that they have been exposed to for a long time. Now, everybody by 1985 already had been exposed to Coca-Cola for basically their entire life. So there was already a huge amount of exposure and therefore a huge connection with the brand and flavor of Coca-Cola as it was in its original form. Long story short, people hated the new flavor and Coca-Cola had to take all the new Coke back and started remaking the old recipe, and everything went back to normal and people were happy again. I think one thing that is interesting here is that we learn from this example, from this event, that the mere exposure effect is also applicable to flavor, because yes, the logo changed, that it says new Coke instead of Coca-Cola, but it basically is the same kind of Coke. It's red, there is this stripe underneath, and we know what Coca-Cola is, but the flavor changed quite a bit. And so it's interesting to note that the mere exposure effect doesn't only apply to visuals or auditory stimuli or tactile stimuli, but to flavor as well. And if you think about it, this is something that for sure has happened to you as a person, as a human being in this world many, many times. Maybe you still drive your old car just because you love it and you keep repairing it. Or there is a movie that you watched as a kid and then you loved as a kid, and now there is a remake and you're not really sure about it. Star Trek Generation, Live Long and Prosper, etc., etc. So the lesson here for us, for designer, is to remember about the mere exposure effect, that if you are rebranding or changing the recipe of a food product or something in your food service, consider the fact that people might have already grown to really love and appreciate that product or that service or that element of the service, etc. So, but if it is something that you really want to change, that you really need to change, that you really feel is better for humanity and the planet to change, then what do? You don't do it just because of the mere exposure effect? No. Then consider the fun theory. I've made another video about it and I'll put a link in the description below. As always, thank you for watching this video. Have a lovely day and happy food design.